Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs. Welcome back to Decidedly Neapolitan. I haven't turned into a deer. It's just that there are a lot of them around here. Still, after a couple of weeks, the deer have really blossomed in this whole area. Today I'm going to do a couple of things. We're going to start off by gathering some materials, and I will show you how I gather materials now, at least like surface materials anyway, because I have come up with a couple of pretty nice ways of gathering resources en masse for my temple project. And you'll notice around here there's bits and pieces of this quarried stone. That is what I'm after, and there is a massive deposit of it over here, some of which I've already claimed. And I was just about like digging some of this stuff up with my pickaxe. You can see that I've kind of left a couple of blocks of it around here, but then I thought, let me get my equal trade one out and see what I can do. Now, in my knapsack, I have a bunch of stacks of dirt, and normally it would be a bit of a pain carrying this amount of dirt around, but when you can just use one click and transform all of this resource into dirt, and then it arrives safely in my inventory, I call that a win, personally. So one thing I'm kind of curious about is whether it's still underneath here, or if it only claims... It seems to only grab the stuff that's on the surface, so we're still going to have to dig some of this stuff out. I can't turn all of these blocks into air or anything, sadly, so right now we're going to have to dig our way around here, kind of expose all of the stone we want to take, and then we can always put the dirt back in later. So it's not a completely infallible system, but it is really neat being able to mine all of that stuff into our inventory with just one click. I really like that. I think that's a fantastic feature. Thorncraft so far has been unlike any other Minecraft mod. I've just run out of dirt, but that's no worry. Grab half a stack from the inventory and keep on clicking. It's unlike any other Minecraft mod in that it kind of gives you new stuff to do instead of just giving you better ways of doing stuff that's already in the game. Like, if you consider stuff like IC2 and those kind of things, I mean, yes, flying around is kind of handy, I will admit, and some of the stuff that they've been doing with IC2 recently in terms of powering and stuff. Hello, Creeper, I saw you, get the bow out and deal with him. I've not even been bothering with the magical foci recently because of having the bow of bone. It's been so good, just nearly one-shotting pretty much everything. If I had a slightly better power enchantment on this bow, then I would definitely be kicking butt left, right, and centre. But yeah, 19 damage in one hit on a creeper is not bad. So yeah, like IC2 does ore duplication really well. I think the thermal stuff sort of does the same thing. Like, most of the technical mods seem to just focus on improving aspects of Minecraft which take a long time, and maybe gathering resources that you otherwise couldn't have. And that's the stuff Thorncraft doesn't do super well. What it does do well is give you absolutely new stuff to do. Like, give you stuff to do that you would not even be able to do anyway in vanilla Minecraft. Stuff like casting magic, you know? Stuff like replacing ores out of the ground instantly, that kind of stuff. Like, everything has its purpose, and some of the technical mods are really cool, but Thorncraft is just an experience like no other for me, and that's why I've been exploring it with such a passion over the last few episodes. And we're going to continue that today because I have done my research just a little bit, and not just in terms of what's in the Thaumonomicon, I mean online. I have been looking around because I was confused by not being able to grow a silverwood sapling. I have a couple over at the temple base, right over there in the distance now, and it turns out you can't grow silverwood saplings with bone meal. Can't be done. It is absolutely impossible to do that. But there is an item in Thorncraft that lets you do it, and I had to research some more stuff from Artifice, which meant clicking on Infusion. And once I learned about Infusion, then this stuff started to come up, and this stuff looks exciting. For a start, we have the Pickaxe of the Core, which sounds like an awesome pickaxe. I kind of want to grab that. It kind of sounds like the stuff from Terraria almost, you know? It's got like different, like the molten pickaxe and stuff. But this thing is what I'm talking about. This hoe of growth is something we need to make in order to grow silverwood saplings, like, you know, instantly, as opposed to bone mealing them like you would with a regular tree. So I'm going to get into Infusion today. Now, Kingy already has a massive Infusion setup over there by his place, and has had that there pretty much since day 2 of this server's life. And I don't really want to use that because I want to explore the process of creating the Infusion setup myself. So I kind of want to go through that with you guys. And so to that end, we are going to be making some stuff. Now we need to make arcane stone first of all. And where on earth was that? There it is. Okay, so what you need to do is just get some smooth stone surrounding any type of shard, and that can be a balanced shard if you want it to be, but in this case it is not going to be. Now I have andesite. I think I have made all of my smooth stone into other things, so I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of smelting. I will do that off camera, and then I'll be back making some arcane stone, and we can get started. I have a little bit there, but it's not going to be enough. We can get started with our infusion setup. And right now the ones I have the most of are these entropy shards, so we're going to have to use those, and we need some terra and ignis, so we should be able to get them. And you get 9 blocks per stack here, so I guess it's kind of replacing all 9 of those items, which is fine. Let me just grab as much of that as I can, actually, because that's probably going to do us for a time. Now, from that, we need some balanced shards around an ender pearl to make the runic matrix. We need some of these arcane pedestals, which require air vis, and then we need to make a mystical construct. We need to make ourselves the infusing setup itself, and it's supposed to look something like this. So I'm going to have to do a heck of a lot of doing of this, and I'm going to do it somewhere away from here, probably over at the tower. I think the infusion setup is probably going to be part of the tower itself, possibly the foundation of the tower will be down there. And I gather from reading the Thaumanomicon that stuff with infusion can be a little bit unpredictable. It says unpredictable things tend to happen. Fusion objects can get knocked off a pedestal, it can generate flux, and more catastrophic events are not unheard of. So, that may be a problem. We also need to work on getting essentia in jars, which is another aspect that we need to cover from alchemy. We need to get into this kind of stuff, and we need to work on distillation, because I think it's going to be a lot better doing stuff if we can do it more safely than we do in a crucible. I've been working on the crucible stuff a little bit recently. I've been gathering some mana beans because the primal aspects in mana bean form are super useful to have, because then you can just add and remove the stuff you want. And I have a bit of essence here, but being able to distill that into liquid essentia is going to be kind of vital for the infusion setup. So I'm going to head over to the tower and do a little bit of work there. I have not really done a great deal of construction of the tower itself. I've been working on the temples, but I can show you what I've done over there, and then maybe we can do a little bit more off camera. So, welcome back to my place. We've still got... I'm still levitating in the air thanks to this arcane levitator block. I've got my Ordo temple over there. This is what I need the Railcraft quarried stone for, because I want to do something with the roof of that, and marble is kind of in short supply. And I also want to experiment with a couple of other blocks than just chiseled marble the whole way along. So that's what I'm going to work on in a bit. I'm going to work on the dome for that. But over here, I'm using the cinematic camera for dramatic effect. Over here we have the Temple of Chaos starting to emerge. This is the Perditio Temple, and there is not a great deal to it right now. There is a kind of ash fall that's kind of come down here, and I got a bunch of ash blocks from the nether, again using the equal trade wand, which is so fun to use. And I've worked on this with the other Railcraft block, which is abyssal stone, the nether brick stuff around here, and a bunch of this ash, which kind of gives it like a smouldering kind of feel, like these black particles coming off it the whole time. Kind of looks like it might almost be at home in the fire temple I'm going to be building over there, but these two are kind of close together, and the fact that it just gives off all these little particles and stuff makes it feel a little bit chaotic. Started using obsidian, and Railcraft has added obsidian slabs, which apparently are showing up as sandy brick slabs in Whaler, which they are not. But then up here, I figured the Chaos Temple is obviously going to be a little bit more broken down than the Order Temple. The Order Temple is going to be this perfect structure over there. The Chaos Temple is going to be all kind of ramshackle and all over the place over here. This is just the start of it for now. There's going to be a little bit more. I used the obsidian tile and totem that I picked up from destroying a couple of those around the area, and they haven't brought the eerie kind of aura of the biomes with them, so thankfully we are staying fairly well protected over here. It's not spawned any angry zombies yet, as far as I know. I've got some obsidian and nether brick in here. I can put my abyssal blocks back in here as well, and we will get on with building this another time. But for now, I think we're probably going to start on making the tower structure in the middle of this lake. And for that, I probably need to bring in some of the open blocks building guide stuff that I've been using to set up the circle to begin with. These things are actually fairly easy to use once you get the hang of it, but it's a little bit weird at first, so I'll show you how it works. If you switch this on, they're powered by redstone, so you have to put a redstone signal nearby in order to power it, and then the buttons on the top move it around and rotate it, and then the ones on the side allow you to control the dimensions of it depending on which side you're looking at. I'm just hearing zombies around here, and I think they might be under the water. Pretty sure neither of my villagers have been touched by zombies so far. I think they are pretty much safe. Haven't really done a great deal more trading with them yet, but yeah, the zombie and spider noises. I think there's a cave kind of directly underneath here, which we may have to sort out in future. But now if we reduce the size of this by right-clicking on the minus, you'll see the numbers there start to count down. And it's reducing the y-axis of it by clicking on this. So you'll notice the y-coordinate there goes down, and so you'll notice it's shortening itself around the circle. And then if you hit the minus on the side over here, when it actually works, the hitbox of these are a little bit tricky to navigate. You'll notice it shrinks it on just one side. I'm not sure quite which side I think it's this side over here. And obviously right now it's projecting a circle, so it's a little bit tricky to get the hang of. And I'm going to sleep. Hopefully the other guys on the server can sleep as well, so that we can get rid of the night and I can show you a little bit better what I'm doing. And there we go. So if we hit the minus symbol on these sides a couple of times as well, you'll notice it starts to move in again there. And so let's leave it at, say, 33. You'll notice that, yeah, it's moved in a little bit from this side as well. And now I have to go around this side and hit the minus symbols over here to shrink the other coordinates as well. And then you end up with a circle that is a little bit closer in. Now, it's obviously not going to be completely like 33 block radius, so we're going to have to shrink this down a little bit more. But I do want the tower to be roughly circular, so we'll keep that in mind. And obviously some of this is going to be adjusting the height and depth of it a little bit. So where do we want that to be? Let's bring it into, say, 18. I think 18 is probably a decent number. So here it is with a radius of 10 blocks. And if you look at this, it looks slightly uneven there, but that's because the terrain underneath it is slightly uneven. If I brought it up a couple of steps, you would notice that it's actually looking pretty even. And so, yeah, this is going to work for us because it's odd numbered on the large faces. It's got kind of a 7 across thing going on, so we can work with this. And I can turn the building guide on and off anytime I want to, so we can always take a look at this without it. But then if I turn it on, it'll give me a decent idea of where to place things. There is an advanced building guide you can build from open blocks, which I think Rick used when he was building his arcology, that actually lets you input the blocks into this and it will place them for you. But that's not what I want to do with this, because obviously I have plans to build it myself and I kind of want to put individual blocks in different places. But I'm going to keep this around here just for an idea of scale, and so I don't have to freehand the circle that we've got going on here. But I think this is going to look pretty good, and as a tower, it's going to be quite tall. It's going to be a little bit taller than we've got it here. The other cool thing about this is that you can calculate the amount of blocks you need to use. So I'm adding to the height each time by pressing this plus, and you'll see with it a little bit higher, the block count has almost doubled. So we're going to need a lot of blocks if we want to make this a really tall structure. And it could always taper in and out here and there. Obviously, that's not something that is easy for the building guide to do unless you use more than one of them, so maybe we can figure that out as we go instead of relying on the modded stuff for that. We can freehand the details of it ourselves. So I'm going to get working on that. The start of it is just going to be the basic kind of foundation of it here, and that's probably where we're going to build our runic matrix and get the infusion stuff started. So I'm going to do a bit of that off camera. Hope you guys are liking how the progress of this is coming along right now. I still have to design the other 4 elemental temples and do a little bit more work on this one, build the roof of this one, but it's coming together and this place is going to look really cool once it's finished. And so from up here you can see the beginnings of our tower, and right now the floor I'm not super happy with. I think we can probably change out some of the arcane stone, especially considering we will need it for a bunch of stuff. But yeah, the outer ring of the tower is going to be made out of different materials, so you won't necessarily see this kind of floor. And I was thinking, yeah, about swapping this out for something that tiles a little bit better. It's getting dark, must sleep. and this is probably a thing to be done during the day because I don't know what on earth is going to happen next. First thing we're going to do, I've been harvesting a lot of spruce wood by the way because I have a feeling the outside of this tower is going to need it. First thing we're going to do is make ourselves this. This is a runic matrix. This is the thing that goes in the middle at the top of the infusion altar, and then I'm going to take my wand over here. I'll probably need to top it up again after this because we need a little bit of every aspect in order to activate the infusion altar, which is what we're making right now. Going to make a bunch of these arcane pedestals because we will need them, but the central one has to go there, and then we need a dirt block on top of that, and then we need a runic matrix on top of that, like so, and it doesn't look like a great deal right now. I think we need to add some arcane stone brick around the sides there, and then we need to charge up the wand because we need 25 of each type of this in order to do this. And I don't have all the nodes I need around here, so I'll have to go looking for some more. Oh, my amulet is charging some of them up, but yeah, I don't really have a great deal stored in the amulet right now. I'm not really sure how to charge that, other than just by collecting stuff from monsters I kill. Collecting tiny bits of this here and there. So I'm going to go and use Kingy's wand charger to go and do that because, let's face it, he has a slightly better setup than I have because he's been doing a lot of his stuff off camera and has really been going hard at the Thorncraft stuff. So we'll head back to spawn, charge up using whatever nodes we have to hand, and then we're going to come back and activate this thing and see what it does. So this is what Kingy has been doing in his basement. He has set up a node of each type with this vis relay system, and that has basically led to a charging station sort of here with this work table, this vis charge relay. It'll actually charge your wand if you leave it in the table for a little while, and you can only activate one of these things at a time. So you open it using a piston like this. He's got some glass in front of it which actually blocks the vis from being relayed. And then I think that should just about, yeah, we're full up on auto. And then you go over to whichever other node you want and open it up like that, and then you get air. So those are the only two aspects I really need to charge. I need like a tiny, tiny amount of fire, but we can deal without that for now. I think I only needed 25 of each type of this. And he's left his massive scepter here, which is kind of incredible. Look at the capacity of that, and the average vis cost is much less than you would get from my gold-banded greatwood. So we're going to have to look into making some better wands or scepters or whatever eventually once we get a hold of some more stuff. But that kind of all unlocked in the Thaumonomicon at the same time as Infusion. If I go to Thaumaturgy here, there are all these types of cores that you can make your wand from, and they each have a better capacity for different types of vis, and I assume Silverwood is just kind of the best of all of them. Like, it gives you a decent amount of all of them, but then it says like earthen vis storage, fiery vis storage, airy vis storage. So if you want to specialize in a specific discipline of magic, then you can go for one of those. So it might even be worth exploring those in future. The bone wand, the entropy one, is forbidden knowledge, so that's kind of the dark path, and so far I have been able to avoid too much of that. We also have some very exciting stuff opening up in the form of other wand foci, which I'm probably going to look at in another episode, and this is a forbidden wand focus as well. So there's definitely a few exciting and slightly dangerous things opening up around here, which I'm probably going to have to take a look at some point. So the wand is now charged. Let's head back to the tower and we can activate our runic matrix. Here it is, folks, the moment of truth, mostly because I'm not sure if I've actually built this right, but we will see. Activate. Oh, and we did it! GG! Well done, everyone. We did it together, I think, and now we need to start preparing this thing for balancing with these arcane pedestals, because as you'll... Oh, I've nicked Kingy's wand. Oh well. He's not going to be on the server for a few days, I think, so he's probably not going to be needing it for the moment, but I will make sure I don't use it for evil. Anyway, where did we want to look at? We want to look at Artifice, because yes, this thing needs balancing with other things. So you want to have various pedestals around the place, and it says placing occult paraphernalia around the altar in symmetrical formations will have the effect of reducing instability. So if we decorate this area here with various things, if we keep ourselves surrounded by things like zombie heads and candles and the little crystal things that we can make, the crystal clusters. I've got a couple of zombie heads here, actually, so how about we do that? How about we do that? And it says symmetrical formations, so if I've got to put one... If I put one over, let's say, here, right there, kind of after this little redwood outcropping, then I'll have to put one there as well to make sure it's balanced. So they're both kind of looking inwards at that. Okay. Okay, I think I'm getting what the deal is here. Now, the interesting thing about some of the stuff that you can infuse, if I take a look at the Thaumanomicon again, is that there are different ways around that you have to put stuff, I think. Like, there are different recipes for this infuser, and I can't remember where it was I saw one. Was it in the Arcania? I know I started down the infusion path because there was something else I needed to make. Maybe it was even on the wiki. Maybe I just glanced at it on the wiki. But there's definitely stuff that you have to make in this infusion matrix. That's so cool looking, though. But the stuff you have to make that requires the pedestals to be placed equal distances around the outside, and so you've got to really be careful about where you place them. Some of them are just 4 pedestals, so it can just be one there, one there, one there, and one there. But some of them have up to like 7, and 7 is a really weird number to be putting around a circle at equal points, so kind of have to be careful about where we're going to do that. Okay, I need to do a little bit more research because I definitely want to make a couple of these things. The Hoe of Growth is my goal right now, but I'm also very interested in these Boots of the Traveller, and they seem to be made out of some enchanted fabric and something to do with infusion. These two are linked in here, which I assume means that you have to infuse some stuff. Maybe you have to get some regular Thorncraft boots and charge them with Essentia or something like that. So I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of work on that off camera, and the one thing I am going to have to do is build the next level of this tower where I'm going to be working on the alchemy side of things, because I think even though this is going to be the bottom floor of the tower, I need this area to be a little bit clear of other stuff so that in case something goes wrong with this, I'm not going to lose everything around it in case it explodes or something like that. So alchemy is going to have to be on the next stage up, and if we're going to need jars of Essentia to be placed around the circle, then we're going to need to look into alchemy and how to distill Essentia. And that's going to be very, very important. And also, I just want to get out of just using the Crucible, because that seems to be releasing flux into the atmosphere or something like that, and I don't really want to meddle with that too much. So for now, I think that's going to be it for today's episode. Bit of a shorter one than usual, but we are going to be doing a lot of stuff off camera in terms of building, and I will come back to you guys when I have some stuff to share about the alchemy side of things, and maybe we'll do some infusion in the next episode. I'll be working on the surrounding area in the meantime as well, so you can expect some really cool stuff to be built around here. I've moved my villagers a little bit out of the radius of this, but they are both still safe in there. This guy got out for a little while, but he is safely back in there now, and he still wants 8 gold for an emerald, so I'm hesitant about that. I will have to see what I get. If I can get some gold out of treasures for killing zombies, that kind of thing, then maybe I will give it a try. But for now, that's going to be it. So thank you very much for watching today's episode of Decidedly Neapolitan. My name has been Pixlriffs. Please leave a like on the episode if you're enjoying the series, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you guys soon. Bye for now.